like the complexion of a dead person in a casket.
Random memories of waking up in the night, knowing I'm not alone in the room.
We have 3 cities that all claim to be the UFO capital of the entire world.
So when she turned on the kitchen light, it stopped walking.
My parents told me these things didn't exist.
They're a little more ominous, creepy, scary, and the question is there, what is this thing?
Hovering just inches from the window was literally is what you'd imagine a grave to be.
Never seen anything like this in my life.
I'm still left with more questions than answers.
Welcome back, dreamers. If you've had an encounter, please contact me at somedreamland@gmail.com, find me on social media at somedreamland podcast, or check out the show's new website, dreamlandpodcast.weebly.com. If you're enjoying the show, please help it grow by subscribing, rating, reviewing, and sharing this episode with friends, family, and social media. Tonight, my guest is Daniel Jackson from Beyond the Veil. Daniel has been gifted with the ability to communicate with archangels and spirit. With this information, he guides and assists people in finding their true spiritual paths. So without further ado, grab your blanket, turn down the lights, get comfy, and let's fade away into
Dreamland.
I'm really excited to pick your brain a little bit.
You can ask. I know, like I sent you that one sheet thing, but that just kind of gives everybody an roundabout kind of thing what I do. But you would really have to pick my brain to find out what I really actually do, because it's a lot more than I could actually put on a piece of paper.
I believe that.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. I'm not your. I'll tell you right now, I'm not your typical medium. I do all that regular medium stuff, but that's not my role here for what I do. So I'm here to teach people why we're here and what our purpose is and all that stuff. So, but I mean, I see spirit 24/7, and I talk to them and they talk to me and all that stuff. But I'm here to help. I'm here to help the living people more or less.
Well, give me a little bit of background into you. How did you come about this gift, or how did you know that you had it, and when?
Very beginning, when I was a child, when I was a kid, I saw spirit, but everybody in my family did, because we lived in a town in New Jersey that was right next to a battlefield next to the Delaware River where the Hessians fought. So everybody around that neighborhood, or that part of the neighborhood, their houses were, I guess you could say, haunted because it was a battlefield. So seeing things like my sister was getting dressed or getting ready for school one time, and my mom was helping her in the bathroom, and when they stood in front of the full-length mirror on the door, there was another woman standing in it with a colonial dress on. That was back in the day. That was in the 70s when my sister had a record player. So when you had a record player, you had to lift that record up, and then you would flip the switch and the record would drop down. Well, me and my brothers would be downstairs watching TV, and the record player would turn on and play records, and not just one record, but it would take that record off and put another record on. So, yeah, it was doing all kinds of things like that. We would see the ashtrays move, the glasses move, everything would just move around the house, turn on, things would turn on and turn off, lights would turn on and off. Then my mom and dad, my dad got a new job down here in Delaware. So me and my mom and dad, and my one brother moved down here, and then my one brother left after a year. But I was still seeing things. No one else was. And I would see things like, well, when I was younger, played in a rock band. I was a drummer, and back in the 80s, and I had the big hair and zebra stripes spandex.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I thought it was pretty, but it's not so pretty now. But I came home from a gig one time and I laid down in bed. And when I did, something laid down next to me, and I felt the pillow depress everything. Did that like 3-4 times, and then the 5th time, I got up to see what it was. When I looked around, and what happened was whatever was there with me picked up the blanket that I had on me and brought it up to the ceiling and shook it above me, and then it dropped down on top of me.
Wow. I bet you freaked out a little bit, huh?
Yeah, after that, I slept on the couch for 2 years, so it freaked me out. But then, I was seeing things quite often in that house. I had a girlfriend once, and we were watching TV, and she was at the foot of the bed, and I was at the other end, and we were watching. And then this thing, it was about 2 feet thick and about 4 feet long, white thing, kind of snaked its way out of the closet and got halfway across the room, and then just disappeared. And she turned around to me and she said, "Did you see that?" And I said, "Yeah, let's get the heck out of here." I would just see things like that all the time. It just got to a point where I was seeing so much stuff all the time. It was natural for me. It didn't really scare me anymore. I just see things. I would drive down the street in my car and get a cold chill up my back and go, "What the hell's going on?" And then all I do is start looking around, and first thing I see is the graveyard. So I was just connected that way where I could pick up on things, but I didn't know why. I never did ended up putting 2 to 2 together, I had that all the way through my 30s, 40s, right up before until I turned 50. And then it was right before my 50th birthday, a couple months. My wife left to go on a vacation to see her daughter in California. And then all hell broke loose. And I saw everything in that 2 weeks that you would consider scary. I was seeing green and red mist pouring out of the walls, and skulls pouring out of the walls and floating around, and they had red eyes and fangs. I was seeing these 6-7 foot skeletons walk around the house. I saw this cloud that kept coming out of the corner of the bedroom. It was gray. One time it was red, blue, yellow, green, red with black stripes, blue with black stripes, gray with black stripes. I rolled over, and I'm always worried about what time I was going to get to work on time, and I was always rolling over looking at the clock, and I rolled over one time, and there was a little girl kneeling next to my bed, and she had blue eyes and a yellow, or like blonde hair, and a blue and white dress on. I saw I had to look this guy up because I heard about it when I was looking for information about it. They call him the Hat Man. I was in my basement and my cat was down there, and I said, "Come on, buddy, it's time to go upstairs." And he looked at me and he looked to his right. I looked to my left to see what the hell he was looking at, and this wall of blackness appeared in the middle of the floor. And then I saw a man with a black coat, a wide black rim hat. He was completely black. Couldn't see his face, but I could see his features. And he walked out of the wall, and he just walked across the room, perfect stride, but he didn't have any feet. I was just standing there like, what the hell is going on? So my wife finally comes back, and I tell her all about this stuff. And I've told her, I've seen things in my life before, but not stuff like this. This was crazy stuff. And I was in bed, and I saw this cloud appear above the bed by the ceiling, and then a window of blackness opened up. I saw these 2 skeleton arms come out. Neither one of them had hands, and then they pulled this body out, and the head was looking around the room like he's like looking around. And he looks at me, and I said to him, "What do you want?" And he's like, looks at me like he couldn't believe I was looking at him. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. And then it just kind of floated away. So yeah, I told my wife about it, and I'm diabetic, so she's a nurse, and she figured, well, maybe there was something wrong with my medication. Maybe I'm seeing something I'm not supposed to be seeing. Who knows? But then a couple of days later, she started seeing all this stuff too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. So and me, I'm brought up Catholic, so we're told that these things are devils and demons and all this stuff. So that's what I'm thinking. So, and I mean, like this green and red mist that's coming out, it's like almost like you would see with a witch's cauldron, it's just pouring out, floating out, covering the floor and everything. And these little creatures were walking around the bed and stuff. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
So we eventually, I had to find out what was going on. So we were looking for, being Catholic, try to see if I could get a priest to come here. Couldn't do that. I called them. They didn't want to come. They said that we don't do that. You have to get to a special kind of priest for that. And I was like, what the heck? So I got a hold of a paranormal group, and when they showed up with their little van and they had their little insignia on the side of it, I just looked out the window and I kind of thought to myself, I don't know if I want to be this kind of famous, because everybody around the neighborhood is now going to know that they're living next to the Blair Witch Project in his home.
Right.
So I thought, man, I don't know. So, but they came in. They wanted to do it at nighttime, so we did that. And they came in. They set up all this equipment. One girl walked around with a digital camera. Another guy had a video camera. One guy just kind of walked around, observed, and then the leader was kind of walking around, observing as well. And so they set up these little boxes. They had little lights on them and little wires sticking out of them. And I said, what do you do with those? And he said, well, Spirit put off, Ghost put off this static electricity. I was like, really? He said, yeah. He said, I'll show you how this works. He rubs his hand on the couch and rubs his hand over top of the thing, and the thing just lights up and makes this noise. I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. So they set up like 4 or 5 of them around like all the doorways and in the rooms and stuff like that, and all over the place. And then what happened was he asked me, so where do you have a lot of activity? He said, I remember you telling me in the bedroom. I said, yeah, let's go in there. I walk in there. I walk past these little things, and every one of them all went bloop. And then I turned around and I was like, looking at them like, what's going on here? And they're all looking at me like with their mouths open. And I was like, okay, this is a little bit different, but all right. So they come in the room. Nothing happens when they walk in the room. Only when I'm walking around this shit. So I said, well, there's stuff going on in the closet. We go in there, and the one guy's like, I got to get out of the closet, man. I'm feeling sick. I'm like, all right, well, let's get out of here. So so we get out of there. He's like, all right, let's go to the next room. I walk out of the bedroom. There they go again. They're all lighting up. The girl is taking a digital photo, and she's walking around, and she was doing a test of that. She took a picture of each one of the members of the group, and then she took a picture of me, and then one of me with each member as we were all walking around the house. She took like 25, 26 pictures, and every time she took a picture of one of those guys, there was nothing. But every time she took a picture of me or me, one standing next to one of these guys, there's like 15 and 20 light orbs surrounding me. They're not next to me, they're surrounding me. So I take them all over the house. I took them down in the basement. I walked up to this mirror. I was standing there talking to one of the guys, and then I would go to walk away, and one guy says, hey, can you come back here? I was like, for what? He goes, up to where this mirror is. I said, yeah, sure, why, what? He goes, just stand there. I want to show you something. I said, oh, okay. I stand in front of the mirror. He said, now look at the mirror. And I was like, why? And I look at the mirror, and the mirror is vibrating.
Oh, wow.
And he says, it only does that when you stand in front of it. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? He's like, I don't know, but got to do with something. I said, okay. So they did one test where they used this thing called an ovulus, where they had me go in the bedroom again. As soon as I walk in, they all light up again. And they were, like I said, they're doing everything at nighttime. So I go in, I pretend I'm sleeping. They walk in, and this machine, they turn it on, and what happens, it says energy goes into it. When energy goes in, it's got a vocabulary of like 5,000 words. And I was like, oh. I was like, do we have actually 5,000 words? He said, well, sometimes they come out in different languages. I said, oh, okay, gotcha. So I'm laying down. They come in. They turn the machine on. As soon as they turn it on, it starts spitting out words. It says Helen, Paul, Michael, Wendy, and I was like, man, I'm just laying there, like not being part of this, but listening. They start asking a question. Oh no, I'm sorry. It said other words. It said unique, special, light, energy, and I'm like, where's this all coming from? What's this all mean? Then they asked a question. One of the questions they asked, they said, "Are you here to harm Daniel?" And then when it says these words, it comes out in that like computer sounding voice, and it came right out and said, "No, we are not here to harm Daniel. We love Daniel. We love his light. He is the light." And when it said that, I was like, "What the hell does it mean? I am the light." And so they had this conversation with this thing for like 10 minutes. And one time I heard them say, this is an intelligent conversation we're having, because one time the thing spit out the word, it said the word road, like a street, it said road. And when it did that, a car went vroom, right past my house. And I was like, holy crap, this is cool, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking it's cool. And I'm thinking, okay, they're going to get some information. They're going to be able to tell me what's going on here. Well, they get done. They walk out of the bedroom. I get up and go out. I see my wife sitting out there, and they're over there huddled up. And I looked at my wife and said, "What's going on?" She said, "I don't know. They came out here like they're, I don't know, upset or something." I was like, okay. So I wait till they get done, and then they turn around to me and they said, "All right, Mr. Jackson, what we're going to do is we're going to come back with a big reveal in a couple of weeks." And I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "That was crazy in the bedroom, wasn't it?" And he said, "Oh, it's crazy, all right." And I said, "What do you mean?" And he says, "When we have that machine, every time we bring it somewhere, it'll say a word or two, but it never says any sentences."
Yeah, it's weird.
And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I thought that was pretty cool." He goes, "Yeah, we don't know what that means yet. So we're going to have to go back and decipher all this." I was like, "All right." He says, "We'll come back in a couple weeks and we'll let you know. I'll let you know when we're going to do it." I said, "Okay, cool." So 2-3 weeks go by, nothing. I called him up, finally get a hold of him a month later, and I said, "Yeah, are you guys going to come back for the big reveal?" And he's like, "Well, kind of have a problem with that, Mr. Jackson." I said, what do you mean, problem? He said, "I can't get the team together to come back to your house." And I was like, "Why? What's wrong with the team?" He said, "Oh, they left. After we got done your house, they all quit." I said, "What do you mean they all quit?" He said, "They won't come back to your house. They're scared to walk into your house." And I said, "Scared?" He said, "Yeah, they're scared." He said, "We only get this kind of information from maybe, like it takes like 10 or 15 houses to get all this information. We don't get this from just one house." And I was like, "Okay." He said the team members all quit. They don't want to do this no more. They're afraid. And they don't want to, especially don't want to come back to your house." And I was like, you guys are the professionals.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for some help here. I don't think this makes too much sense that I can't even get help from the professionals. You're afraid to come back into my house. What does that even mean? Don't you guys do this for a living? And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I don't know what to tell you at this point, Mr. Jackson." I said, "I know what to tell you." I said, "I think you guys need to quit doing this because you're not helping anybody." You know?
No joke.
I was like, this is crazy. So what I did at that point was I reached out and tried to find some mediums. I ended up finding 5 of them, all at different periods. None of them knew each other. And everyone I went to, they all told me the same story about me. One in particular told me, she said, because I went to see her at like a show where she did a show for like 50 people. And she said when I walked in the room, she like spotted me as soon as I walked in the room. But she didn't realize, I had talked to her previously, but she didn't know I was coming to that show. When I walked in, she was like, so I talked to her afterwards and I said, "Hey, it's me, it's Daniel." And she's like, "Oh, Daniel, I talked to you on the phone like a week ago." I said, Yeah. And she said, "I didn't know it was you, but when you walked in the room, I knew something was going on." And I said, "Why?" She said, "You have the strongest light I have ever seen in my entire life. And I've been doing this for like 15 years. And I was like, and what's that mean? Because she read me in there. I was the second person to get read, and lots of information came through. So I knew it was real because she knew things about my mom and dad that there's no way she could have known. So, because my dad had passed and she knew things about him. So she said, well, the reason you're seeing all this stuff is because you have an ability to see things. I said, okay, yeah, I get that. I understand it. But why am I seeing so much stuff? She said, that's the trick. And I said, what's the trick? She said, you're seeing so many spirit because they're coming to you. You don't have to go anywhere to find them. All you have to do is be. They're coming to you. And I said, so why are they coming to me? She says, because spirit thinks that you are the light into heaven, and that's why they are coming to you. That's why I said your energy is super bright. When spirit sees people, they see your body frame, and they see your light in it. They don't see you like that. I said, how do they see me? They said, all they see is a light. You're so bright that they don't even see your body frame. They just see a globe of white light. And she said, when I close my eyes, that's what I see when I look at you. And I know that's what they are seeing because, that's how they see. They are third eye people now because that's where they are in that realm. That's their regular vision. She said, we just use our third eye here. But she said, so that's why they're coming to you. They believe you're the light into heaven. And I was like, okay. And she said, so what do you want to do with that? I said, well, she goes, I know you don't want it to go away, right? And I said, yeah, I don't. She said, well, then you need to have a sit down and have a talk with, the higher power, God, whatever you want to talk to, and tell him you either want to accept this ability, this gift you have, or let it go. And I was like, I don't really want to let it go. She said, yeah, I know you don't. She said, so you need to have a talk with him and get this figured out because you have something going on here more than I've seen in anybody. So I think you could really do something with this. So that's what you need to do if you want to figure this out. And I said, okay. So my wife and I, we go home, we talk it over. I said, I'm going to go in this bedroom and have a talk and see what happens. And so I did. So I went in there and I said, you know what, God, I want to move forward with this. If I have this wonderful gift, I want to be able to use it. I want to be able to use it for people, and I want to help people because I know I just want to help them in some way. Where if I can help these ones who have are passed away, I'll help them. Or if I can help regular people, I'll do whatever it is that you want me to do in order to have this. So I walked out of the bedroom, and then the very next day, everything changed. I mean, like that, like everything changed the next day. And it took a couple of months, but I stopped seeing all the crazy skulls and skeletons and all the crazy stuff. It faded away. I was seeing less of it and less of it each and every day. That green and red mist just disappeared. It never came back again. But then I started seeing regular stuff like faces. And it took about a year for me to figure out what this ability it is that I have. And how to work it. But what I did find out after that first year is those spirit that keep coming to me because they think I'm the light into heaven, they're correct. So, and what I mean by saying that, I'm able to talk to my spirit guides, and I don't have just regular spirit guides. Everyone has regular spirit guides. I actually have not just regular angels because there's a difference. I have archangels with me. Archangels are not men with wings. They don't look like men with wings. I'll tell you what they look like later if you want to know. But and you'll be freaked out. But I can communicate with them. They touch me for different answers. They touch my face because I've always got these itchy feelings on my body all the time. It was spirit walking up to me because they didn't know what I was and touching me, trying to figure out what it is. And I'm sitting there itching, going, man, what the hell's going on? It was always spirit walking up and touching me. But I'm able to communicate with them now. They touch my face for yes and no answers, and then they just put thoughts into my mind. And when someone's talking to you and you can't see their face, you know it's a voice coming from somewhere else. Well, that's how I get messages from them. Except if you can't see them, you know it's coming from someplace. Only difference is I can actually see them. When I'm in the light in the daytime or in the light, like right now, I see them left inside of me and right side of me. If you've ever seen somebody smoking a cigarette and you see smoke coming off of it, looks like little petals of smoke. That's what I see around me when I'm in light. In the nighttime, I see them. They're glowing bluish white figures, and I look up and I can see their faces and I can see them all standing around me. How many archangels do I have with me? All of them. And I don't mean 12 or 14. It's in the Bible. There are thousands of them, and we can't pronounce all their names because you just can't. The names that we have for them aren't really their real names. These are just the names that we've given them that they we associate with them. So, and they associate back with us with those names. But they have told me that in order for the light to be here, to shine, to show spirit how to cross over, it has to be within a physical body. And that spirit has to keep coming back over and over and over again. People I do readings for, I find out how many times they've been here. I can do that. I can ask. When I ask questions, I don't have to go into a trance or any of that crap a lot of these fake mediums do. I get the answers instantaneous. I ask a question, I get touched for an answer, or they just put it into my mind. To the point so much now that my thoughts aren't even mine anymore. I'm like, it's dwindling down. I'm like 25% me. I'm losing a lot of me, and I'm now 75% them because they're putting thoughts into mine all the time. And what I mean by that is I go to bed at night and I wake up and I know new stuff all the time. I know things about the Bible that I've never read a Bible before, but I know things because I wake up with information. They are bringing me information, changing me, changing my soul to be able to get information better, changing my soul so I can see them, feel them, hear them, and communicate with them better. My actual soul was actually in my grandfather before it was in me. My mom and dad were about to have me, and they had my two brothers and sisters, but my grandfather wanted to know when I was going to be born. Not the other ones, when I was going to be born. Why? Because he knew. And because he had this gift. And when it was time for me to be born, my dad called him up and said, "Hey, you got to come to the hospital." And he was getting ready to come to the hospital, and he had a heart attack and died. And the reason being is because his soul left his body and came into mine. It skips a generation. It didn't go into my dad. It went into me. And it has to do with something with being the last born child of that family when it goes into that family. Yeah, I mean,
That's it.
Yeah. So I don't go around telling everybody, "Hey, motherfucker, I'm the light into heaven." It's not about that. It's about me. Just I have to be what I am. And I had no control over this. You went like mediums themselves. You can't go to school and become a medium. You can't go take a class and become a medium. You can't. And if you find somebody who did that, they're lying to you, because this isn't something you're just gifted. It doesn't work that way. You're born with it because it comes in with your soul. So every time your soul has to come back, and it has that ability, it comes back with that body, a new body every time, and it just gets woken up when it's supposed to be woken up and used. For me, it happened to be when I was 50.
So everybody's soul, you're saying, comes back after, correct?
Yeah. Do you want to know how many times you've been back here?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
27.
27.
Yeah, you're on number 27. You've been here 26 times. So when I said to you, "You want to know how many times you've been back here?" They immediately put the number 27 in my mind. And then when I said 27, then they actually touched my face and said yes.
Interesting.
And it happens that fast because you heard me go 27.
So you help spirits find the light, go to the place they need to go. You're like a beacon for that.
Sometimes they have to be crossed over physically because a lot of the spirits don't know they have passed away, or they are just confused, or they didn't cross over for lots of reasons. Like someone told them they were going to hell or going to be judged, or they were just scared, because the world wants you to be scared of your death and to be scared of dying and where you go next. So yes, I crossed the ones, but I don't just see people either. I see dogs, cats, horse, fishes, cows, everything. Fishes, a fish. I see everything. And they've told me the reason I see everything is because I'm a portal for all spirit. All spirit that goes through me to go to heaven, and anyone that comes back to visit, because they come back to visit all the time, comes through me as well. And then also the ones who are leaving heaven to come here and go into a body actually have to go through the portal, which is also me.
Interesting.
So the way to explain that is, like I said, my spirit keeps coming back here over and over and over again. That soul, they say, my soul's been here over 23,000 times. So 23,000 compared to your 27, I got you beat a little bit, but
yeah,
not something I'm truly happy about. The only thing I'm really happy about is this time is the last time. I don't have to come back ever again. I get to go home and stay home.
So what do you do to utilize? How do you utilize your gift to help people?
I do readings for people. Okay, so I do because I'm able to talk to my spirit guides. I don't necessarily connect with your mom and dad unless your mom and dad really does want to come through and say something. But most of the times they don't. If you ever come up on a medium and they say, "Oh, I can get a hold of your mom and dad," they're lying. They are full of crap. Because when you pass away and you go up into heaven, if you go into heaven, there's only two places to go. You cross over into the light, or you remain here as an earthbound spirit. That's it. There's no hell. There's no purgatory. There's none of that stuff. I cross them all day long. I see them all day long. There's nobody walking around with horns on their head and a tail. That's brought to you by the people who want to tell you how to live your life the way they want you to live it and give them 10% because they don't want to work a real job. Religion. And they bring you this stuff because that's the way they control you. And if they tell you that you're going to a horrible place all the time, you're going to believe it so much that you'll do what they want you to do because you don't want to go there. But you can't go there because they can't send you there because they don't have the power to do that. They are also just people. Okay, I do readings for people. They come to me. They ask me questions. The way it works for me, you have to ask a direct question. You ask a direct question, I get direct answers. I always tell people, you may not get the reading you want, but you will get the reading you need. And the reason I say that is because people come to me for silly things. And what I mean by silly things is, Daniel, can you tell me when I'm going to find my soulmate? Well, sure. It's already living at your house. What do you mean? I don't have a boyfriend. I know it's not your boyfriend because it's your dog. What do you mean, my dog? See, people don't understand that. A soulmate is not somebody you're necessarily going to fall in love with. A soulmate is someone who the soul and you and that soul, when you were both home in heaven, because we all come from there, we don't come from here, this isn't home, and you work very well together and you hung out together all the time and you were just besties of besties up there. Well, you both come back here, you both happen to be here at the same time and you meet up with each other again. So sometimes it could be a dog, it could be a cat, it could be your mom, it could be your dad, it could be your best friend. And people don't realize that. So yeah, sometimes they ask me questions and when I tell them that, they go, oh, yeah. So your soul, because you meet these people all the time. They say, oh, I'm getting married. I met my soulmate. We're getting married. And you see them 2 years later and they're like, I'm like, hey, how's everything going with your soulmate? Oh, we got divorced. I go, well, soulmates don't get divorced. So I guess that wasn't your soulmate, because I tell them that's not what a soulmate is, but you didn't listen to me. But are you going to listen to me now? I hope so. But I do readings for them. They ask me questions and then I get answers for them. But you have to ask truthful questions because you can't lie to spirit. And the reason I know that is because they answer me for yes and no answers as well. And I get touched on my face for yes and no answers. I get I get all these touches for yes, but I only get one touch for no. And it feels like a tear's running down my face. So I did a reading for a woman one time as an example. She asked me some questions. And then the first question I ask always is she telling me the truth? Or are they telling me the truth? And then I got to know. So I stopped the reading and I said, okay, you got to ask me questions. You have to ask me truthful questions, not these manipulated questions that you're trying to get your truth out of it. and not the real truth. And she was like, well, how'd you know I was doing that? I said, well, for one thing, you're talking to the medium. And two, you can't lie to spirit because they know. So ask me some truthful questions and we'll move on. And I didn't like give her to her harsh or anything. I said, well, we'll just move on and everything will be okay. So she did. And she asked me these truthful questions. And then when I gave her the answers, she didn't like the answers. So she started humming. She's going, And I looked at her friend and I was like, is she humming? And this girl said, yeah, she does that to me all the time. I said, yeah, you know why she's doing that? She's trying to block me out because I'm giving her the truth and she doesn't like it. And I said, that's what you're doing, aren't you? You're trying to block me out because you don't want the truth, do you? And she just looked at me and I stood up and I said, here you go, here's your money. See you later. Walked away. Because I said, I can't do this. I'm not going to, if you want the truth, I will give you the truth. But if you don't want to listen to it, why am I here? Right, and if you don't want to ask me truthful questions, why am I here? You're just trying to manipulate me so you can try to manipulate that person who's next to you. And she was like, I said, yeah. What's the point? So, yeah, and that I do that. I get that a lot. People try to do that. They try to manipulate the questions so they can get what they think is the truth or the truth that they want. So that's why I always say, you may not get the reading you want, but you will get the reading you need. You need some truth, and you need to hear the actual truth and what it is, and not this pretend truth that you actually want. So, but people have I get regular people who I do a live reading show, and I get regulars come on there who just like to watch because they like to hear that stuff, and then they like to see once in a while I get somebody in who tries to trick me, and I had a lady come in one time a couple of weeks ago, and she said, yeah, I want to talk to my brother who's passed away. And the first thing I said, is she telling the truth? No. I said, she asked me this question. I said, is her brother even dead? And they said, no. And I said, so she's trying to trick me? Yes. I was like, okay. So now I'm right back in. I said, yeah, I can't get that answer for you. She said, oh, but you're the medium, aren't you? I said, well, yeah, the reason I can't get that answer is because your brother's not dead. Because you're asking me a question about your brother who you're saying is dead, but he's actually not dead. And the reason you're asking me that question is because you're trying to trick me so you can make me like a fool in front of everybody else when you're not going to be able to do that because I just called you on a lie. She's like, I said, yeah. I said, I don't play that game, so you need to leave the room. And everybody else is like, get out of the room. We don't want you here. And I was like, they try this all the time because they like to try that. There are people in this world who are just negative people, and they want to, because they don't have a life of their own, this is the way they make themselves feel better by trying to put down other people. And they do this all the time. We see them all the time. They like to gossip about people and all this stuff. And they're just negative people. And those are the ones who actually turn into negative energies who usually don't cross over into the light and remain here as an earthbound negative energy. But yeah, they like to try that once in a while. But my success rate is like 100% with that. So, but you know, it just is what it is. You're going to always have to deal with those types of people in your life because this world is full of them. Until we learn to teach each other, not that we don't have to do that anymore.
So you mentioned your live reading show. What all things do you do on that show?
I call the show an Ask Me Anything show. So people will come in, ask me about their lives, ask me. I had a woman come in last year, and she said, Daniel, I want to get a house. Am I going to be able to get a house yet? And will I be able to get it soon? And I said no. And this was in, let's see, what year was that? That was 2018 when I told her that. And I said no. I said you're not going to be able to do it because you don't have good enough credit for it yet. I said, but you will. I said you will have good enough credit in 2019. And she said when? And I said spring of 2019. And she said, how'd you pick up on the fact that I don't have good credit? I said, well, you asked the medium, didn't you? and because it's kind of weird how they forget who they're talking to sometimes. And then I just like to bring a little bit of humor in there. And she said, okay. She said, so you're telling me April 2016? I said, exactly April. I said, do you want to know when? She said, yeah. I said, the second week of April. And she came, she would come on the show once in a while. And then I didn't see her for a few months. And then she came back to me at the end of April and said, guess what? I said, what? She said, you were right. I got a house. And it was in the second week of April. And I said,
Awesome.
I said, you know what? And she said, what? I said, I can't make this shit up.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's the type of stuff that I get. I like to do the live show, but I prefer to do the in-person readings. I get more from an in-person reading. I can sit across from someone, I hold their hands, and I like to see who's actually, what other spirits are here with them, and then I tell them. I don't always know names because not all spirit like to talk. But when they do, I get some names. Or I just describe the spirit, who it is, and then they tell me a name, and then I look at the spirit. I ask them, is that who it is? Because they don't always have enough energy to speak as well, because some of them are newly passed away and they don't have enough energy yet. Or if they're not crossed over, it's hard to get any information at all because they're in a place that's all a lot of negative energy there. And I only get answers, most of my answers from positive places, and I don't like to talk to the negative ones because they're all about they still hold on to their pain and anger, sorrow, grief, guilt, all that stuff in that realm, and then they become nastier people than they were when they were here. So I don't like to talk to them, and I don't have to talk to them, and nobody does. Just people choose to listen. That's all.
Okay. So you mentioned spirit guides. Everybody has a spirit guide.
Yep.
What is a spirit guide usually? Is it someone that is passed on, that is watching over them, or how does that work?
Spirit guides are people who have crossed over and have fulfilled their purpose. Everyone is here now. You're here now. You're here on number 27 because the other 26 times you didn't fulfill your purpose, and you are here now to try again. When you do fulfill your purpose, that means you get to stay in heaven, okay? And when you get there and stay there, you can do anything you want. But as a soul, you think differently. And why? Because you, as a soul, to get into heaven, you have to be able to let go of all your pain, anger, sorrow, grief, guilt, anguish, all that stuff. And when you let go of all that, think of letting go of all of your pain, all your anger, all your sorrow, all your grief. Think of what kind of person you would be. You would be a much calmer, more better feeling person, and you want to do good things, and that's what you would do as a soul. You want to do good things. So sometimes souls ask to come through and be with other people so they can help guide them through their lives, because that's what spirit guides do. They come here and they help you make decisions. When you wake up in the morning and make a decision to say go to the mall, only you made half of that decision, and that you is your soul. The other part of that is your spirit guides. These are other souls who are connecting with your soul, which actually runs your body. It's your soul that runs your body. It's not magic, okay? And so your soul is what runs your body, and these spirit guides connect with your soul and say, hey, how about going to the mall today? You need to go to the mall today because you're going to run into some cool people and do some cool stuff. And then the soul goes, I think I'll do that. And then you think it in your mind, and you go, oh, I think I'll go to the mall today. You think it's just you making that decision. It's not. It's half you, and the other half is your spirit guide. And why are they telling you to go to the mall? Because you're going to have experiences that you need to have that day. You're going to meet people that you need to meet that day. There's no such a thing as a coincidence. You don't just happen to bump into people that you haven't seen in 10 years. You bump into them because you're supposed to that day. But if you use your ego and you decide to talk yourself out of it, you talk yourself out of a lot of things that you're actually supposed to be doing. And what happens is, if you're one of those people who continues to talk yourself out of these things, you end up on what's called the alternative path. There's two paths to be on in your life, the alternative and the correct path. And if you stay on the alternative path, and you're one of those people who likes to take 1,000 selfies and has to feel like everyone has to tell you how wonderful you are, and then you only do things in this life all about you and nobody else, and you don't like other people, and you do everything for yourself, you will remain on the alternative path. Or if you're using your free will too much about yourself and not to help anyone else, you remain on the alternative path, and that just brings you right back here again to do it all over again. You don't understand it when you're here, but you will when you get back home and they tell you have to come back home again or come back here again. So, but these spirit guides are here to help you make decisions throughout your life. They are here to ease you through your life. They are not here to fix your life. If you have screwed up your life, it's up to you to fix it. But they will try to help you ease through it the best they can by trying to help you make better decisions. But if you're one of those people, like I said, it uses this free will so much where you want to change these things, it's okay to change them. You're just going to come back again. But yeah, these are people who have crossed over, who have fulfilled their purpose. Everyone gets two. You get a man and a woman. The man is here to help you make more masculine decisions. The woman is the more nurturing decision. Sometimes you get others that come in who maybe you need some special extra help. And sometimes they are relatives. And sometimes they're relatives from this lifetime. And sometimes they are relatives who come in from previous lifetimes when you were here, that you were so close with them then, that they decided to come through here this time. And since they didn't have to come back into a body, they decided to help you through this lifetime so you can, because the ultimate goal is to fulfill your purpose. And once you fulfill your purpose, you don't have to come back again. And you don't want to come back again, believe me. So, but it's all about fulfilling your purpose. So yeah, they will come in and help you. But like I said, I have spirit guides too, but they happen to be archangels. Why? Because I cross spirit over. Two, because they protect me from all the negative energies that are out there. I can go into any haunted house and nothing can touch me. Absolutely nothing. Because my archangels won't let them near me. And I see them come near me all the time. They try to come near me, and then I see these globes of white light come out and boom, and land on these things and make these things go away. It's really cool to see. I wish everybody could see what I see, but they just don't. But yeah, and that's how they help you. You can ask them for protection. Even your regular spirit guides, you can ask them to protect you. Ask them to keep these negative energies away from you, negative people away from you. And when you do that a lot, you'll find out. You'll when you're aware of that, and then you ask for this help, because that's what they want. They want you to acknowledge the fact that they are real and they are here to help you. And then when you do that, they will help you. And people will find out very quickly that when you do that and you live in this aware type of lifestyle, better things will happen for you. Because people just can't pick up on that. And they want it to be that way, but they don't want to live in that aware lifestyle. And that aware lifestyle is knowing that the world is not what the world makes it out to be. These spirit guides, if you ask for their help, they will help you. I've had many occasions where things like these things have happened. So wonderful. If we had time, I would explain it to you, but I'm sure you got other questions to ask.
Yeah, is there a better way for someone to connect with their spirit guides?
Absolutely. The best way to do that is through meditation. You will, if you can meditate 10, 15 minutes a day, you will find out more stuff about yourself than you ever know in your entire life through meditation. Because in meditation, in order to get to that state of mind, that lucid state of mind, you have to be able to clear your mind. You have to clear your mind of all thoughts. And a lot of people have problems with that because their minds are racing all the time. But I use meditative music. I used to just say the word empty out loud like 10 times and then say to my mind, just to clear my mind out. But it would take me like 40 minutes to get into that state. But now I use meditation music, binaural beats is what it's called. And I set that on, and as soon as I turn it on, within a minute, I'm in that quick. And then I start seeing things. And you can ask them to bring you messages. You can ask them to come through and even tell you their names. And they want to do that in meditation. They want to do it that way instead of me telling you what their names are, because they want it to be a personal thing. And it has to be, because why? Because they want to be able to trust you that you're trying to do this for all the right reasons and not trying to do it just so you can have some stories to tell your friend.
All right. So I have a Hat Man question.
Yeah, go right ahead.
What do you think the Hat Man is? What's his purpose?
The Hat Man is not in spirit. The Hat Man is from another dimension.
Okay.
The Hat Man is here to observe us. Now, would you like to know what he's trying to observe? Because no one else will tell you this except for me. Why? Because I talk to him.
I do, because I have had Hat Man experiences where my oldest son, when he was younger, I've said this on the show before, but my oldest son, when he was 5 or 6, he's 20 now. He
saw things.
He saw Yeah, he did. And he saw the Hat Man
Yes.
almost every morning staring at me
Yes.
in the corner of my room.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
while I slept.
So-
So I'm kind of curious.
How old is your son now?
He's 20. Well, gonna be. He's 19.
Is he still seeing things?
I don't know. Never really asked him.
They're telling me he doesn't.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of weird stuff happened with him when he was younger.
Yeah.
I mean, weird stuff.
The reason being is because when they come into this world, and I'll tell you why he was looking at your son. But when they come into this world, when they're very young, you just came back. You just came back from heaven, and you're into a new body, and you wake up and you go, "Wah!" And you see the people above you going, "I'm your mom and dad," and you're going, "I don't know who the hell you are, but okay." And are they really your mom and dad? Not really. We're all brothers and sisters where we come from, because we all come from the same soul family. We all just had to come here and do this God experiment that he wants us to do, to learn lessons and fulfill a purpose. But because they are pure of heart, because they have been washed clean of all the pain, anger, sorrow, grief, and guilt when they left the previous time when they were alive, and now they had to come back again. Now they are washed clean and they are pure of heart. And when you are pure of heart, they see everything that I do.
Okay.
And the Hat Man,
Oh.
the Hat Man comes through and wants to check on you to see if it's going to stay with you.
Yeah, he was. No, my son was observing the Hat Man, observing me,
Yeah.
which is really weird.
Let me ask them a question real quick. If you don't mind some dead air, just a second.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a good stab at this, and you're going to tell me, yep, that's going on. So when you walk into a room, even before you walk into a room, you pick up on people's feelings who are around you?
Not people's feelings. No, not really. But I can feel if there's something
Yes,
in the room.
yes. And what you're picking up is the other energy.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely know, like, if I've been out, like, I've gone on a couple investigations and things like that, and I definitely know if there's something there. Like,
Yeah.
it isn't a matter of seeing it or hearing it. I can definitely tell.
Well,
So,
that all comes from emotions. That all comes from the energy.
okay.
You pick up on it. You're picking up on some. You're picking up on the negative ones as well.
Okay. Yeah, I've had some pretty crazy experiences too, so I don't doubt that. But yeah, I mean, it was just that freaked me out when he told me that. Like, it was like more than once,
Yeah.
that he told me this happened. So I don't know. It was just, it's creepy to me.
Isn't that creepy that I'm telling you the same thing?
Yeah, it's pretty creepy.
Okay.
So
Do you know why?
why?
Because you could be like me, except you're just not.
Okay, what does that mean though?
That means that you could be a medium. You're just not. You haven't.
Okay.
You haven't accepted it. You have more than you know, but you haven't accepted it yet. You see these things as just being crazy instances, but you've had these instances like your entire life, and you pick up on it. But you were like me before I became this, and I would see things and hear things and feel things. But you see things and you pick up on things. You just don't know why. But because the world wants you just to think, you shouldn't know why, and you just thought these things are kind of crazy. That how am I able to do this? But you never really put two and two together. Like I didn't put two and two together.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I could see that. And a lot of the time in my younger days, it was, I would just put things off, I didn't
Right.
see that. That didn't really happen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you could be not the same as me, but you could be a medium if you wanted to.
Okay.
And you could do that. But the only way that you could do that is basically, again, having this sit down and accepting your gift. But right now, you're what I call 1 foot in and 1 foot out. So you know about it. You see it once in a while. It freaks you out a little bit. But you haven't had an event yet that has really freaked you out yet, like seeing a lot of things all at once.
No, nothing like that. I will tell you that I do have a lot of dreams that that happen the next day or the day after.
Yeah.
Why is that?
That's part of you being you're not clairvoyant, but there's another one that's similar to like that. You're just getting them in dream, because when you're in a dream state, you're even more lucid state than you are when you're meditating. You're the closest when you're dreaming, you're the closest you're ever going to be at that moment to heaven. What happens is your soul rises up out of your body. It's still tethered to your body, but because it's up out of your body and it's clear at that point, because your thoughts are clear at that point, then they bring messages to you.
Okay.
So in other words, when they bring these messages to you and these things happen the next day, you really could be out there helping people with this. I'm just saying that as a medium guy, saying you could be out there helping people with this ability that you have when you get these messages, but you haven't gone that far with it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some crazy ones, Daniel. I actually dreamt one night that I saw a train wreck.
Yeah.
And the next day on my way to work, I saw an actual train wreck right in front of me. It was the most bizarre thing ever.
Two and a half years before COVID-19 came, my wife and I'm able to channel messages. Spirit comes through me, and I hold hands with somebody with a medium, and stuff comes through, and they start speaking. And when they're speaking, the words that are coming through are not theirs. Their voice is not theirs. It's that type of thing. And 2.5 years prior to that, I was channeling with my wife, and they told us about the first stock market crash and COVID-19.
Oh, okay. Wow.
They called it the pestilence, and they called it a crash, a money crash. And I was like, oh, so I was going out and doing a festival circuit at that time, and I was telling certain people that I knew could handle it. And when COVID-19 came, I got 20 text messages from people telling me, we're glad we listened to you. You were correct, because I told them how to prepare for everything. And then I got like 20 more from people that said, we wish we would have listened to you. We thought you were crazy. I said, I'm not crazy. So you should listen next time I tell you something. But and that's how I go out and help people with specific messages like that. You could do the same thing. You just haven't made the decision to whether or not to actually do this or not. But I will tell you, just as a personal thing, I'm not going to. Spirit brings me people like you doing stuff like this all the time. When I go out in readings, they bring me people who have gifts, who don't know they have a gift or haven't realized it yet, for me to wake them up. So I'm here to tell you specifically. I mean, we can talk about it here on the air or offline. It's up to you.
Okay, yeah. I mean, let's talk about it. So,
what I mean by that is, if you're about to do this, if you want to do this, you could do this, and you could have the talk, and then everything will start to change for you. And what will happen at that point is you will get more of your gift, because you're getting part of it now. You're not getting all of it. Could you imagine what you're getting right now is about a quarter of it? Could you imagine what answers you would really get if you had the other 3/4 of it compared to what you get now?
Yeah, I mean, it would probably be crazy.
Mind-blowing, correct?
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Because I get mind-blowing stuff. I get a lot of stuff that I don't even talk about, because if I did talk about it, someone's going to come here and put me in a straitjacket and take me away, and you'll never hear about me again. That's the kind of mind-blowing stuff I get all the time. But I don't talk about that stuff. But I do talk about the things that I know can help people in a general way. So that's what I do. And you could do that as well, but I'm here to tell you, if you were to decide to do that, your life will completely change. Completely change. You will lose a lot of friends because there are people who don't believe in this stuff because of one reason or another, or their religious beliefs, and they will stop talking to you. You'll find out quickly who your friends are and who they aren't. Your whole life will change. You will go through something called ego death, where you will start to disassociate yourself with people, and it's not important to have 6 cars and 7 houses and 10 boats. You'll have 1 car and 1 house and whatever else you need, not the things you want, but you need. And you'll separate yourself from that. And then you will have to be able to get rid of all your pain, anger, sorrow, grief, guilt, and anguish, and grudges and all that stuff, and anger and all that crap. And you will turn into a different person. You really will. But you have to decide whether or not that's okay for you to do. And it's not for everybody. Just like, I ride a motorcycle. Not that people want to ride a motorcycle, but when they ride a motorcycle and something happens and they get scared of it, they don't want to do it again because they're scared of it. Well, that's the same way with this thing. Because you find out some stuff that's not always pleasant. So you have to learn how to deal with that. And not only that, but it's not, people want the cool part of my gift. They don't want to do all the work. They don't want to have to do all the meditation and have to, of that feeling of disassociation with everyone. And, but I mean, the people who are in this world, in this awakened world, they understand it, but not everybody else does. They want to know why I'm not at the family barbecues and all that stuff, because I can't be around all those negative people. Because you figure out real quickly, you don't want to be. I worked a job before I did this. I worked at prison for 6 years, and I had to leave because I could not handle being there anymore around all this negativity. I feel it. I walk outside. My gift's a little bit different than most people, especially because, I'm the light into heaven, and there's only one. So it's just me. There's God, there's Jesus, there's me. So it's that type of difference. But I don't proclaim to be God or Jesus. It's just, I'm just different. That's all. But everybody's different. Everybody has a gift that's different for them, and it works differently for them. But the one thing is that's the same is the change. Then you'll have your friends who just only want to be around you because they want to get a free reading from you. So you'll start to discern yourself from those people too. But yeah, it's a complete 360, not a 180, but a 360 life change. And you have to be okay with that, because it'll happen. It happened for me, and that's what that lady told me. She said, you got to make a decision, because it's not an easy one. And I didn't understand what she meant at that time until I made it. Would I change my decision now? No, because I know what I do every single day, and I get to help people. I bring some clarity, and I bring peace of mind to people all the time. And that's a great feeling to be able to do that. Because you see it. You see it on their faces. You know when you're doing something good and they are feeling it. And you're feeling it too. So, it's a cool thing. But sometimes they do things. I watch my spirit guides actually touch me at nighttime. And they're doing things to my soul, and I can actually feel it. But when they do that to me, it actually physically changes me, and then physically changes what's going on inside of my body. And it actually makes me ill sometimes. 2-3 days in a row, I'm laying in bed, or I'm in the bathroom because it's coming out of both ends, type of sickness. But would I still change it because of that? No, because this is something amazing. I don't take it for granted. I talk to angels every single day, and I know who they are, and I know what they are, and what they do for me, and what they do for everybody else. I don't take it for granted, but it's awesome. I get information that nobody knows, and how am I getting that? But there are going to be a lot of people out there who want to be skeptics towards you too, because they don't believe in it, and what people don't believe in, what they are afraid of, what they don't understand, they become afraid of it. And when they become afraid of it, they want to lash out at it, and they will lash out at you, and you have to be able to put up with that. So, and do you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one good thing about me is I know I sound like a dick saying this, but I really do not care what people think about me.
Me either, man. Me either. I don't care. I tell people all the time, you can, God did not create words. God gave us an ability to make sound. We created words. Man created words, okay? Because God didn't write the Bible. People wrote the Bible, and the Bible's bullshit anyway. So God, yes. Jesus, yes. Bible, absolutely freaking not. Okay? So you can say any word that you want to that begins with the letter F that doesn't sound like fire truck, and he doesn't give a crap. What he doesn't want you to do is put that negative energy on someone. So you can say shit all day long, but to call somebody a piece of shit all day long, he doesn't want us to do that because he wants us to take care of each other and be kind to each other and help each other. That's what he wants, because that's what your purpose is. Your purpose isn't to become a doctor or a lawyer or a police officer or a football player. Your purpose is the same as mine. It's the same as everybody else out there. And everybody else out in the world that you see right now, when you go outside and you see all those people, they've all been to heaven too, and they all had to come back as well. So no one's alone. Okay, we're all in this. Joe Biden says we're all in this together, but we've always been in this together throughout the beginning of time. He doesn't have to tell us that. We just have to figure it out that we need to take care of each other in a different fashion that he wants us. He wants us to spend our money. No, we could take care of each other, live together freely. That's what Jesus was here to do, to tell us we can live together free as free men and women without being under rule, without being under law, and live together and take care of each other and share everything in the world. But the people who were in the rule saw Jesus doing that and said, we got to get that Jesus guy and scoop him up, and we got to make an example out of him. And that's what they did. They put him on a cross, and he wasn't the first one to be on it or the last one. And they tortured the shit out of him in front of people and then murdered him in front of people to prove to a point, if you do like he does, if you follow what he says, we're going to do this to you too. So don't do this. That's why they want everybody to wear a cross around your neck, not because of the remembrance of Jesus, in the remembrance that religion has control of you. That's why they want you to have that cross, because the cross is a form of punishment, not something to worship. They only use the name of Jesus and God they indoctrinate them into religion. Jesus and God have nothing to do with religion. Religion has all that to do with Jesus and God. Why? So they can have power and control over you to tell you, like I said, how to live your life, the way they want you to live it. And they use their names to put this control. Oh, you need to be in fear of God. But he's also a merciful God. But be in fear of him. But he's also merciful. But be in fear of him. No, you don't have to be in fear of him, because he's not here to hurt you. He's not really here to do much. He did one thing for you. He put you here. He wants us to figure out the rest. We're just not doing a very good job of it. That's all. But the world is just not what they think it, or they want you to think it is, and they try to hide everything. And we're in this all together. We've always been that way, but we have to figure it out, and we're not doing a very good job of figuring it out, because there's 1% of the population owns everything and is in power and control of everyone.
Well, there's a lot in our way.
Yeah,
if it's everybody's goal in this life to make everybody else better and help each other out, then man, we got a long haul ahead of us, don't we?
You know why? There's other civilizations that are like the Mayan Indians. You know why you only see the homes of the Mayan Indians? Because you don't see any remnants of them, because what they did is they learned to work together, and then when they did, they left their bodies and rose up to a higher consciousness. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're not even supposed to be here. That's why Jesus came here, to help us to get to that point. But the people who were in control grouped them up and did all that shit to them. And now we're stuck. We have relinquished the power, the control of everything, over to the people who control everything, because people want to believe that the government's going to take care of them, the world is going to take care of them, but they're not. We could take care of ourselves, each other, and live together and be free. But we can't at this point until we stand up and rise up against it. But that's
well, they've done what they're here to do, right? Oh, yeah. They're here to control you.
Oh yeah.
And that's they're doing a damn good job of it, because people just there's so many, to me, there's so many conspiracies behind religion, government, things like that. And made up. It is a control thing. Yes. It is a control thing.
Absolutely control thing. Control, power, greed. Like I said, they want you to give them 10% because they don't want to go out and get a real job. They want you to give them the money so they can sit back and do nothing and pretend their little ways. And it's all about power and control. Yeah, these are all made up groups. It's what I like to call a God club. It's just a club. It's a group of people who want to bring more people into their club all the time. And if you're not doing what they say, if you're not living by their lifestyle, And if you're not living under their rules and you're breaking their rules, they call their rules sin. Okay? No one sinned. You and I and everyone else on this face of this world were all created from God, from a part of him, which makes your soul a divine soul. Divine souls don't do anything wrong. Jesus Christ is not the only divine soul. We are all divine souls, and he was actually here to tell us that. That's the real reason why he was here. It has nothing to do with, oh, he died for your sins. That's bullshit. The people who are in control were religion. They believe me. I have spirit guides, like I said. One of them is Jesus. And believe it, he tells me they don't want him coming back as a second coming, because if he did, he would take all of their power back. He would take all their power and control away from them. So they don't want him here. They just want you to think that he may come back and all this stuff. This is how they use their control and power over people, by scaring them with fear tactics. And that's why they use God and Jesus in their ideology to scare people. But you don't need to be in fear of Jesus. You don't need to be in fear of God. I mean, when you go to heaven, you don't see God anyway. No one does. God, you look up in the sky, you look around the world and up in the sky, and you see everything that's out there and all the other galaxies and all that other stuff. He's busy doing that. When you go to heaven, you'll see Jesus, you'll see angels, you'll see everybody else. And to the point where they don't want you to know that when you go to heaven, you don't run into 200 or 300 people you met here in your lifetime. When you get to heaven, you know everybody. Everybody that's there, you know every single person there. And not just persons, dogs, cats, horse, fish, cows, other beings that are from other worlds, because they just look different. They're not monsters. That's just what they look like on their world, but that's all. But you know everybody. Why? Because we all come from the same family, the soul family. But they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know how much control and power you have over yourself. He was trying to hear, he would show people, hey, I can heal you. But if you live the way I'm telling you to live and do all this stuff so we can do everything freely and everything, you could actually go back to healing yourselves, because you were all born with it, but the people who control us took that away from us. And that's what he was here to try to show us to do. We could take care of ourselves and do it all on our own without being under rule and control. But everything comes down. I mean, look how much control in the world right now. They're fighting over the Olympics right now, okay? You know where the Olympics came from? The Olympics came from kings and queens who wanted entertainment. So they made all the slaves do all these games at their expense. That's where the Olympics came from. And we still have the freaking Olympics, and these are all games that come from kings and queens and being fought by slaves. But now we praise them for doing these games and stuff like that. But it's still ridiculous. That's how much control. That's how they keep our minds at bay for them, because they want us to continue to spend money and buy these stupid trinkets when you go to the Olympics and all that dumb shit. And yeah, so, but it's all part of it. But there's just has to be a point where we stand up and we get done with this stuff and then go back to a much simpler way of life. Because if we could share everything in the world, because there's enough of everything in this world for every single person to share, if we could share everything, the ideology of that is, if you could have a Porsche and I could have a Porsche, but everybody could have a Porsche, the only reason we get a Porsche these days is because we want to try to feel better than someone else, or make ourselves look better than someone else, or make us feel more important. But if everyone could have one, and you could put all the trinkets on it to make it look cool like everybody else could, then if everybody could have one, then our needs and wants would change, because you may not want one at that point if everybody can have it. So if everybody could have everything, you may go get a Porsche to take a ride, but do you really need it? No, because at that point, you don't need to prove yourself to anyone, because you would figure out at that point, if everyone can have one, then we are all equal. And if we're all equal, at that point, our wants and needs would change. And then we could go back to living a simpler lifestyle, because we wouldn't have to buy things and do things that the world tells us we need when we don't really need them. They just tell us these things because they want us to go out and spend our money. They want you to go into debt so they can bail you out of debt, so that when you get out of debt, they'll give you another credit card so you can go back into debt and do it all over again. That's what they want. They want us to continue to spend our money and do all this dumb stuff. We don't need that. We need to be back a simpler way of lifestyle where we could just You would be a doctor just because you wanted to be a doctor to help people. Or you would be a basketball player just to play basketball. Not because you're going to make $50 million, because what kind of sense does it make that a basketball player's getting $50 million a year, but a teacher who teaches a child to do all these things is getting $50,000 a year? It doesn't make sense. They are famous because we made them famous. We have allowed this to happen. We have to stop allowing this to happen. We have to take the power back and take control of ourselves back. That's what we need to do. That's my role here, to teach people that we need to be doing that.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, but
I have a couple of more spirit guide questions for you, man. I need to get them in here.
Ask them, fit them in.
So I'm not sure if anybody's ever asked you this before, but can a spirit guide be someone who's alive?
No.
Okay.
Spirit guides are only people. You have friends who may come through into this lifetime who are going to help you and help you out in your life. They can be mentors, that type of thing. But that's just because they're here now and they're helping you. They may have been a spirit. No, a spirit guide can only be somebody. They've all been in spirit, and they've all may have come through and helped you another time when they weren't supposed to come back yet, and you did, and they helped you in your life at that moment. But just as regular spirit. But spirit guides are only people who have crossed over, who have fulfilled their purpose. And when they fulfill their purpose and choose to become a spirit guide, that means they no longer have to come into a body. They're not coming back. But a body. But what they can do is come back as a spirit guide to help you make decisions in your life and stuff like that. But everybody else who's here, they're just good people. And it's nice to have those kinds of good people.
Yes, sir. All right, so we talked about how people come back, reincarnate until they get it right.
Yeah,
do animals do that as well?
Absolutely. They just come.
Okay.
And a lot of times they come back for, you're going to love this, the dumbest reasons, because someone here decided, I'm going to kill a cat, and the cat didn't live out the life that it was supposed to live, and then it has to come back again. In other words, forced by somebody who was doing some dumb shit by using their free will too much.
Okay. And is that the case for people as well?
Yes, absolutely. But it's okay, because you as a soul will see that and go, oh man, yeah, I should. But what happens is, because when even like with a cat or like yourself, you chose to do something was brought to you to do, and you chose to go a different way. You talked yourself out of it and chose to go a different way. And when you went out of that way and something else happened, you got caught up with somebody else who did that same thing, and then boom, you're dead. So it did happen to you because of a decision that you made. That was a decision that you were not supposed to make. You talked yourself out of it. Just like animals do all the time. They look at a place and they go, I think I'll go over there. Nah, maybe I'll go over here instead. Well, they were supposed to go over there. And they went over here instead, and then somebody who was around the corner had a gun and said, oh, a deer, boom.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the question.
So try not to get shot by
You mentioned... Well, yeah, right. I'll try not to.
All right, that's good.
So you speak with archangels and spirits, and so what does an angel look like then?
So I will give you some specific names here. So our Archangel Michael, is not a guy with a shield and a sword in his hand. Archangel Michael looks like a moose. He has a wider head, doesn't have the antlers on his head, has wider head, but his eyes are in front of his head. They're just separated a little bit further apart. And his body looks like a moose, like that short hair, like it's on a horse or something like that. That's what he looks like. I see him all the time. Let's see, Raphael, Uriel, Ezekiel. I'm thinking of names in my head, and they're telling me yes for this one, yes for this one. Gabriel. They look like a prey mantis. When you see them, you're gonna look at them like, what the? They look like a praying mantis, to the point where I've actually asked them, are you related to praying mantises here, a mantis? And they say, yes, we're just a higher evolved being that has evolved so much they no longer need a body anymore. They are in what we call spirit, but you're just higher evolved. Do people become, you hear about this all the time, oh, my grandmother's an angel up in heaven. No, she's not. It takes a very long time, and you had to have suffered many hard lifetimes and had horrible things happen to you, and had to learn many very hard lessons to become an angel. And they do that on purpose so that you will learn these things, and then you go up into heaven, and then you are basically schooled by them, and then you will become an angel. But it takes a long time. One of my spirit guides, her name is Helen, and she did walk the earth at one time. She wasn't, at that time, before she left, she was an Egyptian princess, but she had a hard freaking life. It's not wonderful like you would think with a king and queen, stuff like that. And she became an angel, but it took, thousands of years before it happened. And thousands of years in our time, and their time is different because there's no space and time there. So what for them is like 2 or 3 days is for us, it's like 30, 40 years. So that's how much longer it takes for you to do this. But yeah, but do they become angels right away? No, it doesn't happen that way. But most of the angels I see, she's the only one that I see that looks actually human. Some of them look humanoid, but they don't look human. And they have these unusual looking features about them. And I see a lot of those, but I see, yes, a lot of, I seen one that looks like an owl. They are just, you have to get past the body, and realize who they are and what they are and what they do. It doesn't make a difference what they look like. It's what they do for us.
Okay. So let me throw a loop at you real quick.
Give it a shot, man.
What about extraterrestrials? Do they fit into your idea at all?
What do you think extraterrestrial angels are?
That's what I was getting at because of the whole praying mantis thing. It made me start thinking.
Why do you think I was throwing it to you that way? I was waiting for you to ask you. You thought you were going to throw me a loop.
No, I'm glad I didn't.
Good, because that's what angels are. They are extraterrestrials. They are aliens. And know what aliens are? They're just alien to us. That's all they are. Just like illegal aliens. They're just illegal, but they're from Mexico. Well, these ones are from other planets and other solar systems, they're
just ascended beings, in other words.
You ourselves, we will not ascend to a higher consciousness until one thing happens, and that is when we all, like Jesus said, learn together, be together, help each other, help. Like I said, your purpose is you're here to help each other just for the sake of helping. That's what your purpose is. Not just opening a door or saying hello. Physically helping people. Someone's going to come up to you and say, hey, can you help me? I'm lost. But it's up to you to use your free will to decide whether or not you're going to do that or not. And most people don't, because they go, fuck people. I'm not going to help anybody. They're pieces of shit, And then that will put you on the alternative path. And then when you get home, they go, look at these decisions you made. You made this one, and it affected all these people. And you go, oh, crap. Sorry, I did that. Well, now you got to go back and do it all over again. You go, oh, okay. I get to do cool things again, but not always, because you've been here 27 times now. So most of those lifetimes, there weren't cars or computers or anything else. You lived in some crappy times, as we thought were crappy, but, it was okay for them. But, yeah, that's what they are. These things are alien. What they are. They just look different than we are used to. And we would be used to this if they told us the truth a long time ago. But they decided to not tell us the truth, especially about these crashed UFOs and all that stuff. They decided to not tell us the truth. Again, why? To have power and control over. I mean, come on. Ask yourself this question. Back in the days of when we started sending rockets up into space, it's been 60, 70 years later, and we're still using rockets. But my telephone has a computer in it that's more powerful than the computers they were using to send those rockets up in space. How do you think we got that technology? We didn't invent it.
Yeah, there's lots I could say about that because
Plasma TVs.
My biggest argument with even the moon landing thing,
It didn't
right?
happen.
Okay. Well, yeah, my biggest argument with that is, you mean to tell me in 1960 something, you went on the moon and were making transmissions back to the Earth, which were crystal clear and live, and we can't do that today with Zoom,
Right?
Come on,
Right.
man.
But did you notice the cool thing, or the uncool thing, was when they showed the pictures of the guy standing on the moon? You didn't see any stars in the background. Now, how come when we're on the Earth we can see stars up in the sky, but when you're on the moon you can't see stars? Why wouldn't you be able to see stars? Oh, and the flag. They had that American flag up, and the flag was waving in the wind. There's no wind on the moon.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know.
It's all fake. It was all done on a sound stage. They just want you to believe that because this is how they keep the world moving forward. Because they do that, it makes us feel like we're actually moving forward when we're actually not. But yeah.
Another question. Yeah. When you're reincarnated, are you reincarnated usually back into the same bloodline?
You come back. That was a great question, man. Thank you for asking a good question. Yay! Yeah. Yes. Every time you come back into the same family circle every single time. You may not come back as the mom or the dad. You might have to switch it around. Sometimes you come back in as a woman or a man. That explains why people are homosexual. Because if you came into this world 4 times or 5 times as a man, and then that 6th time you had to come in, you came as a woman, of course you're going to have, because what carries through, everything carries through from each body each time. Your personality, your sense of humor, it all gets carried through each time the soul comes back. So if you came back 5 times as a man and next time you're a woman, of course you're going to feel like you have feelings for women because you were here 5 previous times as a man. So yeah, because in heaven you're allowed to love anybody you want to. We're supposed to be able to do that here, but people judge people. God doesn't judge you. We judge ourselves 1,000 times a day. Why does he need to do it once more? Because he just doesn't. Just the people who want to control you want you to believe that. But yes, you will come back into the same family circle. And I tell people all the time this. Do not mess with the 23andMe. Don't mess with the Ancestry.com. Because the person you're looking up who lived 100 years ago that looks like you was you. And they came from Australia or Africa. Yeah, you've come from all over this freaking world. You've been here so many times, you're from all over the world. So people want this, these companies want you to believe that, you got all this history and you may have royal blood and all this stuff. Well, you probably did have royal blood because you may have been around from royal times at one particular lifestyle, one life or another one. So what? What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. All those previous lives don't mean anything. They're a cool story, yeah, but is it going to pertain to you in this life? No, because what's important is what you do in this life. Because the important thing is, if that life previous to this one was so important, you wouldn't be here now. Because if it was so important, you would have fulfilled your purpose and not had to come back. Now, you wouldn't have the memories you have now, and you'll go back with them, because when you leave and go back this time, and if you get to stay, you will rise up out of your body, same way it happens for everybody. You go to sleep and you wake up, because that's the way it happens for everybody. Doesn't make a difference if you get hit by a car or fall off the top of a building or get a debilitating disease or get COVID or suicide, anything. All of that is a facilitation in order for the body to pass away. Okay? So when the body passes away, you'll stand up, you'll look down, you'll see your body and go, I guess I don't need that anymore. You'll take a step to the left, then you'll turn around and you'll see to your right-hand side a light. It's not me. Everybody gets their own personal light when you pass away. It's up to you to make your decision using your free will whether to go in or not. And you're either going to go in or not, but you've gone already 26 other times. So I don't have any, I don't think you're not going to go in this time as well. But then you'll go to a holding place, and it's not heaven right away, because no one goes to heaven right away for 2 reasons, because 130,000 people die every day and you have to wait your freaking turn. And 2, they're going to go over your life with you. And they're going to tell you, well, you made this decision and this decision. You think it only affected 1 or 2 or 3 people. but it actually affected 10 or 12 people. And you're like, oh man, because as a soul, you want to do good things. And they say, well, at this point, you did everything but your own free will, and you changed your mind a lot of times, and you didn't do this and you did that. So now you have to come back. Or if you have fulfilled your purpose, they will tell you differently and say, okay, now what do you want to do? Do you want to go back? Because they're not going to tell you have to go back. If you fulfilled your purpose, they're going to ask you if you want to go back. And if you don't want to go back, you don't have to. And I recommend for people who have fulfilled their purpose, do not go back. Because if you die over the age of 30 years old, at whatever age you died, the next time you would have to come back is in a cycle. It's at least 80 years. So you have to be there 80 years, which is for them is like 8 days. And that's why you don't remember it, because if you were to come back here and you remembered what you did in heaven, you wouldn't be able to function here. You wouldn't be able to fulfill your purpose. And you don't remember it anyway because you come through as a baby. So no one's going to remember. So, but you do pick up some stuff, your personality, and deja vu, not a deja vu, it's a memory. If you felt like you were in that space before, it's because you have been in that space before, just at a different time. That's all. And again,
Yeah, I get that all the time.
Yeah, well, it's because you've been there. So not necessarily the building, but in that space, and you just know where things are because it's.
I get that with certain situations
Do you?
as well. Like, oh yeah, where I know I've had this exact conversation at this time.
Yes.
With the exact people in this exact place. You know, like it's crazy.
Sometimes our lives happen over and over the same way.
All right. So how does that explains a little bit about like people having near death experiences and stuff
No
like that?
such
There is no such thing?
You're not, when you're meant to die, you will. No one comes back and tells a story when you're dead. If you come back with a story because you're not meant to die, you are just meant to know something to bring back here to tell people.
Okay, that makes sense. What about people that remember past lives?
Again, it's just something that came through with them. It doesn't come through with everybody, but it comes through with some people.
Okay.
Lucky for them. I mean, that's kind of cool. And you can tell stories with that and stuff like that. But what does it really do to help you? Maybe it'll keep you from doing some of the things we call mistakes in this next lifetime. But there are no mistakes. There's no right and wrong. There's no epic failures. There's no mistakes. There's only what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And if it doesn't work for you, quit doing it. As simple as if you walk through a door and there's a nail on the floor, you might trip over that nail. And if you do, you may be one of the smarter ones and goes and gets a hammer and bangs a nail in, and then you walk through that door continuously freely. Or you may be one of those people who doesn't learn lessons very well and just continues to trip over that nail. And that's the way our lives are. Some people learn lessons very quickly, that something happens to them, they learn from it and they move on. Some people don't. I worked around these people all the time. I worked in prison. They were called inmates. They have not figured out that they are not good criminals. Why? Because they continue to do it over and over and over again.
Well, a lot of them enjoy being there because it's
their life.
You know. Yeah. So, okay. Last question.
Are you sure?
I'm trying. So we got two paths, right? We got the alternative path and the path we're supposed to be on.
That's right.
So say someone gets off on that alternative path.
Yep.
Can they correct that and swing back around to the straight path? And
as long as you are here, you have the opportunity to do that.
And later on, when they're going over your life, does that count at all?
As long as you get on the correct path and help enough people. You can't just get on the correct path and help one person, and then you didn't help anybody for 79 years, and all of a sudden you help one person when you turn 80, and then you die. You're coming back.
Yeah.
Just like right now, like I said, with people who are gay, you're allowed to love whoever you want to. But one thing you're not allowed to do is change parts. We are here to learn the lessons in this body. And because people in using their free will, because it's all about them, I'm going to change my parts and change myself to a man because I'm an androgynous something, something, blah, 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 whatever they want to call themselves, the LBGTQ, whatever it is, that defunct stuff. There are men and there are women. Okay. Now, sometimes there are medical issues that come through, but because of all the breeding we do and stuff like that, and bodies get misconstrued, stuff like that. But there are men and there are women. And if you decide to change yourself from one to the other, you can go ahead and do that. But I guarantee you're coming back. I don't make the rules. I just tell people the rules.
Okay. Yeah. I'm good with that. I mean, you know more than I do about it, so I'm totally impartial. I mean,
I learned it all in the past almost 5 years. And where did I learn it from?
That's crazy.
I don't
man.
learn it from books. I don't learn it from anything. Spirit tells me everything. Like I said, I go to sleep at night and wake up, and I know more stuff.
Awesome. Hey, I really appreciate you coming on the show tonight. And where can everybody find you and your show and your websites?
If they want to find, you can find me on Facebook at Spirit Medium Daniel. You can find me on YouTube, Spirit Medium Daniel, or you can find me on my, I have a regular website. It's www.spiritmediumdaniel.com. And you can come on there. I have a blog on there. Haven't updated it too recently because I've been doing so many of these interviews. And you can come on there and book a reading with me if you like. I only charge $75. I know a lot of mediums out there charge $350, $400 an hour. I don't. I charge $75. And if that reading lasts for 4 or 5 hours, I don't care. It's more important for me to get you the information that you need. That'll bring you some clarity and some peace of mind to you. And so if it lasts for 5 hours, you're not getting 5 times 75. You're getting charged $75. That's it. Because like I said, it's not important for me to have 6 cars and 7 houses and 10 boats. Or if you want to watch our podcast, it's called Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson, it's at www.beyond-the-veil.com. And we talk about spirit stuff. First season was all about spirit stuff. Second one's all about health and wellness. I had a person on there who was doing talking about hypnotherapy, stuff like that. But we also talk about aliens, UFOs, government, and religious control, everything. And our intention is to bring the truth to people.
Awesome. I love it. Well, hey, I'll include all of your links in the show notes for everybody so that they can just pop right on there and click it and go from there. I will
send them to you.
Awesome. That works for me. But hey, I want to say thank you very much for taking the time to come on with me and talk to my guests or talk to my audience. And I really appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me on the show. I enjoyed myself. You asked,
me too.
Some good questions, not just the regular questions that people ask.
Oh, good, man. I try to change things up, you know.
Yeah, because we need the answers of everything and not the same thing over and over.
Yeah, I'm inquisitive. That's why I do this.
It works, man.
Well, thank you again, sir. I appreciate it. Well, that about does it for Dreamland tonight, dreamers. Thanks again for listening, and good night.